People, what's going on? What's going on? So, we had to make another show, give you some of this good stuff. And as always, if you are of the weak hearted, the faint, the weary, the thin skinned, if you don't do well with criticism that is designed to build you up to a better version of you, if you don't have plans on being better than you were yesterday, this is not the channel for you. Again, there's many of black churches that will tell you anything that you want to hear, but this is not that. Over here, we set ourselves up to win in the future. So, yeah, let's get to it. Some of you may have seen the title of tonight's show. Um, Women should not have been given equal rights. Now, I'll say this. Not all women. Some women seem to be holding it very well. Black women, most of that thing was a detriment to our community. If we were all given 100% rights, I think our women should have only been given 40 to 50% of their rights. And you can get upset right now if you want to, but if you walk with me through this, I guarantee you that I'll make some points that'll make you think. Just point blank, women should not have been given their rights to the capacity of equal rights to men. It was the biggest setback of the black community. Everybody knows it, but no one wants to say it. Like I said, if we all have 100% rights, women should have gotten like 40 to 50% of their rights. And if you want to ask me why, look around. Do you really want to have to ask me why? A lot of the things that we see today, it's not because a lot of the women think that it's something that they're supposed to be doing. They do it because they can. If you notice, they weren't doing it prior to 1970. They just weren't doing it. They had a mouth in 1970. They had a middle finger in 1970. But protocol had already been laid down that that was not becomely of a woman, right? We should start a unequal rights movement. Take 40% of women's rights back. Listen, I'm just joking, but listen, we're going to get to something where I'm going to show you that I have a point. It's not even, for those of you who are sensible people, you know the community was thriving better before women received autonomy. When left up to women in the black community, look what she'll do because she has the right to do it. She runs around screaming that she doesn't need the one thing that all women of every other culture know is the foundation behind what makes their life easy. A man. You're the only group of people running around screaming you don't need a man. The only group out of all of this world, the only group of people in this entire world running around screaming that. Every other group of women believe that a man is the cornerstone of their family. You guys have spent thousands of dollars turning yourself into circus freak shows, piling on clumps and clumps of hair weave on top of your head, and then you become undesirable as it pertains to marriage and serious relationships. The way that you talk to men. Do you know how I know what I'm saying is right? Because if you pay attention to every other culture, these people have self-imposed restrictions upon themselves so they can remain respectful, feminine, and desirable in the eyes of men. These women have placed restrictions upon themselves. Look at the men in the Latino community. The men in the Latino community, they can push fruit carts around all day in the hot sun. And those men come back to a hot meal every day and a woman that shows them the honor and respect that a man that makes $80,000 a year gets. You're the only group of people on this entire planet who people can see what's going on in your heart through your actions, and you're losing badly. You're losing. Everything that constitutes a community and builds a family, you're terrible at it. We have a culture that the things that build communities up, you get called a punk for doing it. You get called listen, what you ladies don't understand is women talk to men. We have female friends too. They tell us that you guys don't really believe the stuff that you say when you say things like, I don't need a man. They tell us that it's coming from a place of deflection and that you're really hurt on the inside. And the only thing that you use to combat not being selected and chosen by a man is to save your pride and say, I'm not looking for one. But yes, you are. Do you know how many dating sites? Listen, I need all you ladies to know this too. Men know that you're lying when we get on these dating sites and your profile says, my sister made this profile, so I might as well use it. My cousin forced me to make a profile. You're lying. You're on here for the same reason everyone else is on there. You're looking for someone. But you've become so undesirable in the face of society. Listen, I take no great pleasure in saying these things that I say. When women got their rights, we can do a reverse engineering of this. If we want to know whether or not I have a valid point, let's reverse engineer. Let's take it back to when you didn't have equal rights to men. You were married at an 80% ratio. You were happier. Families were thriving. Today, when you were given equal rights, it went from an 80%. Here, let me say it like this. My hypothesis is women should not have been given the equal rights as men. What I have to substantiate that is reverse engineering the situation. When you guys were given rights, you took an 80% marriage ratio and decreased it down to 17%. This was all you. 80% of the time divorce is filed or a relationship is dissolved, women do it. You admit it. You admit it on multiple shows and surveys. 40% of women admit to having a backup plan. 30% of the children born in the United States are calling the wrong man dad right now. You're out of control. The rest of the world isn't even functioning how you function. You get abortions at 5 times the rate of every other race. You're out of control. You women need to humble yourselves, throw your hands up in the air and say, we don't know what we're doing. We keep wrecking this car and getting it fixed, wrecking the car and getting it fixed. The only option that you women have is to come under the authority of a man. 80% of the children raised, 80% of the dysfunctionals and people in jail were raised by single women. 80%. You know what that tells us? That means you have an 80% failure rate as it pertains to raising the children. This is not me saying this. I don't care what you say. The numbers say otherwise. These numbers can be verified. 80% of the children in the black community are raised by a single woman. It's not a coincidence that 80% of the children in the black community are raised by a single woman, and 80% of the people in jail and in the streets. It's you. It's you. Almost everything that is conducive to a family setting, you destroy it. Every other group of women hold the man accountable for the structure of the family. You removed that element away from your life so you didn't have to become accountable to anyone. You made it cool to be whores, but you call it hot girl summer or slut walks. Everything that is put in place to benefit you and help you, you remove it. Everybody needs some type of authority figure, except for you. Except for you. When people tell you that 80% of the black women in the black community are obese or overweight, you came up with a name for it. Body shaming. So that gets the accountability off of you and you can go on back to shoving food down your throat with no accountability. Yet you should know that you're not getting picked or selected by men of any nationality. At this, where you're at right now, no one on the planet wants you. You've been rated in multiple surveys as the most undesired woman on the planet as it pertains to dating. Do I take delight in saying this? No. If I did, I wouldn't keep trying to convince you to get on the right path. Do you know how bad I want a black woman in my life? I've never really had that. I've only had one relationship in my entire life. And that whole time I used to see my guys with relationships with black women. I always wanted it, but I never thought I was getting divorced. I never thought I was going to be single again. The mother of my children is of Indian descent. But I think I used to desire, I used to want to be locked in with somebody who shared my pain. But what I would do, the reason that the mother of my children, the only relationship I've been in, I would see what my cousins. Of course, we heard the stereotypes of black women, but I would sit back and watch. She sent him to jail. She called him a bitch ass nigga and blah blah. Over time, growing up, I didn't know exactly what I wanted, but I knew what I didn't want. I knew what I didn't want. I'm the type of man who wants a woman who takes delight in her femininity. A woman who wouldn't be caught in her casket calling somebody a bitch ass nigga. Jeez.
Like I said, if I smack
you gon' wait. Have respect.
Fuck around. Get those one last time I
Where? Bitch.
We know that that's not an isolated incident. It is within the female. It is within the female black culture to behave like that. Let me show you this. Let me show you something. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. That was on the interstate in Texas. You people are out of control. You need put in your place. You need to come under the authority of a man. Men don't let it get that far. Every woman that you listen, I'm going to say this to you. Every woman who you respect, who you know for a fact has about $5,000 or $10,000 in the bank, 10,000 and probably more. Every woman who you in your circle or that you know who you really respect, and you guys look at her like she has her life together, tell me she doesn't have a husband. Have you ever stopped to notice? Think about this. Your married friends versus your single friends. Have you ever stopped and thought about the behavioral difference? The reason there's a behavioral difference is because that woman who's married, she has somebody to answer to at home. And she knows that she can't let it get back to him that she was acting a certain way out there in public, because now you're bringing his brand value down. People are reaching out to him like, hey man, I seen your girl out here acting pretty stupid. See, she has an authority figure that she knows she can't let certain behaviors make it back to his phone. But single women, on the other hand, they have no authority figure looking over them. So they're free to do whatever they want to. The worst thing that happened was when women got equal rights. I repeat, women should have only, if we all got 100% rights, women should have only gotten 40 or 50%. Do you know why black men are so advanced over white men when it comes to sports and physical things? It's because we had it harder than they did. If white people had have grew up in the environments that we grew up in, they would have had to summon that inner monster that is inside of them as often as we had to summon ours. But they don't know it. But their biggest downfall was suppressing us as much as we did while they were getting coddled. Because while they were getting coddled, we were having to lift our inner body muscles. So of course we're going to be stronger in some aspects. And I don't even mean talking about physically. Like black men know how to get it out of the mud for real. Yeah, our muscles for toughness were building up daily while theirs weren't, because they had a comfortable life. That's the black women today. Removing accountability for yourselves and creating environments where no one can let you know when you're failing. Yeah, it's the reason why the world looks at you the way they do. You've been rated on several different reviews as the most undesirable woman to date on the entire planet. Do you know what has to take place for somebody to be rated as the most undesirable group of people on the planet when it comes to dating? You probably can't get that title on accident. You probably can't. You probably had to earn that title for real. Imagine a child who likes to play with razor blades, light sockets, and put nails and tacks in its mouth. Imagine if it had the ability to, whenever a parent comes to chastise it for the things it's doing, imagine if it had the ability to say, you're baby shaming. And by law, the parent has to bag off. How long do you think that child would last? Black women, that's you. That's you. There's a thing coming for you, and you can't see it now, but there is something that's coming. Men, we know how the world works. We know how the world works. That's why you hear about men of all nationalities stockpiling food and weapons and things, because we know a thing is coming. Right now, there's very, very serious talks of World War III. There's 4 superpowers who are into it right now, threatening nuclear war every day. One of those superpowers is already at war currently with Ukraine. This thing looks very uncertain. And if any type of anarchy were to break out on the streets where people started robbing each other's homes and things like that, which people would do generally. If I've been in the house with 3 of my kids, watching them starve for 3 days, and I'm looking at them go through anguish, but I do realize 3 days prior, I saw you take some groceries into your house. Listen, I'm not a bad man. But at that point in time, as chaos sets in, it becomes my family or yours, right? So I want your groceries. 75% of black women don't have a protector. So it's going to be easy to pick you guys off. It will be relatively easy. What I'm telling you is, and listen, those of you who got those little guns, stop it, okay? Stop it. I got a 9. I go to the shooting range. Again, I'm going to say stop it. You're no match for any man on any caliber, let alone 3 or 4 men. Why am I bringing that up? You don't know how desperately you need to come up under a man's authority. You're the only group of people who don't get it. You're going to be begging black men to take you in, but at the same token, you will have created such a nasty and disdainful image of yourself. People don't want to be around you. That's pretty much where you're at right now. People are terrified to even talk to you. I mean, to be honest, it just really doesn't even get much worse than being ranked as the most undesirable group on the entire planet to date. You're creating an environment where people don't want to help you or deal with you. You are. You're the talk. We got gangbangers murdering each other every day. We got drug dealers. Your behavior has overshadowed them. I'm going to tell you, ladies, something. You are at a very dangerous point in life where we gave you the keys to a car. And I'm going to say this again just to stay on topic. Women should not have the rights that they have. You should only have about 40 to 50% rights. And would it, listen, I'm going to speak to you from this perspective. You say that sounds unfair, but yet multiple surveys suggest that women were happier then. They were more family orientated. Most of you are on psych meds. Most of you are miserable right now. The family dynamic was constructed at a tighter facility. You were married at an 80% ratio. I hate to say this, but all of your decisions are bad. You've destroyed an entire community. There's different scenarios. Listen, let me say this. 80% of the time when divorce is filed, you file it. 80% of the time when a relationship is broke up, you do it. 40% of women have a backup plan already in place. 30% of the children in the United States are calling the wrong man dad. And you know who his daddy is. Because your husband is the one who paid for your trip to Florida when you went out there and got your drawers knocked up in your chest cavity. You know what you're doing. And for the last 18 years, you've been letting that man call this boy his son. He's got a grandma clear over in Canada who's been sending him money every Christmas and every birthday. You know that's not her grandkid. Yeah. If we're going to talk about it, let's talk about it. You're doing a terrible job. You have abortions at 5 times the rate of any other woman. You're doing a horrible job. Those of you ladies who make us look good, man, I'm just crazy about you. Because it means that you have broke away from a pretty much addictive culture and said, no, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to do it the right way. So I respect you, black women who are, and fellas, you know what? Those black women out there who are amazing women, who know how to still be under the authority of a man, who know how to maintain the fit feminine image, you guys should be seeking those women out. Stop looking for these prostitutes that are primarily in the hood and at clubs and stuff. Stop looking for them. If you really want someone who's going to treat you well, who's going to have that feminine energy, start going to benefits. Start going to charity. Start volunteering time at homeless shelters. Start going to all white events. Get up out of the hood. Get up out of the clubs. Go get you a woman who's going to make you be proud to call her your woman. Do we have amazing black women out there? Yes, we do. But Muhammad Ali said this one time. He said, if I see 100 snakes coming at the door, but 5 of those snakes are good snakes, do I leave the door open and try to let the 5 good snakes in and risk letting the other 95 in? That's how difficult it is for us to bump into those amazing black women. Yeah, because the amazing black women, the only way we can find them is through social media. And it's not their fault, but they get so many DMs that the amazing men that are trying to jump in their DMs, he's like number 250 in her DMs. So, yeah, fellas, you're going to have to go out of your way to find them. Black women, I can't stress this to you enough. You should be tired of holding the mantle. Listen, you're lying too. Most of you got a lot of you with these $200,000 houses and a nice vehicle. You can't afford that stuff. I don't care if you say I don't know your business or what. What I do know is the statistics on the average African American doesn't have $2,500 that they can go freely access right now. These things that you're doing to keep up with your friends, listen, if you got a $200,000, most of you, there's only 14% of women that even make over $70,000 a year. Most of you are in government jobs or administrative things like that. So, and some of you have had to borrow money from your girlfriends. You're not doing as good as you're trying to put on. And most of you got kids. So it's the $200,000 house, the nice car that you got to go with it. Your kids, you're going to keep him in some J's. You got your utilities, the monthly food bills. Listen, it's not working. You need to humble yourselves and give yourself what men have been saying they want. If you want to know how to be desirable to a man, start practicing doing everything that when you were in your prime, you considered to be kissing a man's ass. All those things. Stop being so mean. We don't want you, and it's disgusting to us. That mean behavior, we don't have to deal with it. Nobody wants it. You don't even want it, so why are you giving it? The rolling your eyes, and I do understand you come from a culture of this. A lot of you were born in the same hoods that we were born in, and you have been impacted. A lot of you come from the same 1990s crack epidemic that affected the rest of us. But baby girl, you got to break it. You got to break that curse. I don't want you to be by yourself for the rest of your life. I don't want you to be running around here looking like some type of artificially made up alien, like
McDonald's and not the rest of my other 3 kids. I have 4 kids. You knew the situation.
Utterly disgusting. Who's taking that home to mom? Hey.
Don't stop now.
Circus freak show act. Looks like something that escaped out of the backyard of a circus freak show act. If she had a man, she might have gotten something like that. That's what you ladies need. You ladies need to come up under the authority of a man. And listen, don't any of you goofballs suggest that. Matter of fact, this is a fine time to touch on this. Any of you men who punch women with closed fists and hit them in the face and things like that, I don't think I have to tell you that you're a coward, right? And everybody knows it. A solid individual doesn't even have to do that. He can dismiss her before it gets to all of that and find him a woman that he doesn't even have to do those things with. So yeah, I did a whole show on that like yesterday. It was called I partied away my youthful years and now I'm older and single. Is it over for me? So check that out. There's a lot of good information on it. Ladies, I promise you need to be under the guidance of a man. The reason that I say women should not have gotten 100% rights that men have, no other group of people operate with the autonomy that black women operate. Other groups of women have self-imposed restrictions upon themselves to ensure that they never go too far. These women have men that just, ordinary men that they just honor them. They're married. Are some of them cheating? Yeah. But some of you who ain't married is cheating. I'm trying to get it through to you, ladies, how badly you don't know it, but I'm trying to help you understand how badly you need. How badly you need to be under the authority and leadership of a man. Every other group of people, they understand it, and that's why they thrive more successfully than you do. Every other group of people is doing better than you. I remember my cousin, his net worth was higher than mine, right? And he had, I think my cell phone bill was like $80 a month, T-Mobile. And he had some type of rinky-dink plan with Boost Mobile or something like that. His phone bill was $40 a month. I said to myself, this Negro got more money than me. What I look like not listening to him? That's the way you people should be doing when it comes to these other communities. The white community, the Asian community, all of them are doing better than you. If you want to know what makes a man happy, look at them. Listen, I challenge you ladies to humble yourselves and start doing the things that you always thought were kissing a man's ass. That's something that you created in your head. It should be somewhere in your nature, inside of your DNA, to have a ton of humility stored up somewhere. Start practicing things you would never do. You guys, you're at a point to where you're going to be left by yourself. You're at a point where you have to try anything at this point. And the very first step that I would advise, that man that you've been sleeping with, it scratched your itches for the last 3 years, tell him this. Listen, I'm not trying to push myself up on you, but I want a certain type of life for myself. And, me and you have been doing our things, and I'm ready to put myself up under the authority of a man. You need to say that to somebody, because you're clearly not capable of making the world's best decisions. Children who are raised by a single mom have an 80% chance at societal failure. 80% of the children in jail and dysfunctionals in the street right now were raised by a single parent mom. Yep. You're not good at this. I do have a great deal of empathy for, like I said, these hoods that affected black men, they definitely affected black women too. But we don't have time to sit back and cry about that. We got to do better. And the key thing that can help you do better is put yourself under the authority of a man and do what he tells you to do. Because more than likely, if he's agreed to move in with you or let you move in with him, he probably doesn't have anything in your interest except for your best interest. Listen, you guys got to stop. Listen, most of you are past your youthful prime. Stop looking for these popular cats, the ones who they say got that mean package downstairs. Find you a man who's going to make that home more comfortable when you come to it. That's all you need. You don't need that man that's on this level. You just need somebody to live your days out with. Do you know how terrible it's going to be to die alone? Do you understand that? That's terrible. Seriously. To die alone, to have decisions made for you, to where when people start talking about funeral homes, you don't have nobody going to bat for you. And as much as you would like to bank on your family, that's imposing a great deal. To have you coming up in there and, somebody got to help you clean your butt when you poop and stuff like that. See, it's known that my grandfather dealt with different women. My grandmother never had to work. The only time she worked is when my grandfather bought her a car wash and she wanted to operate it. Me and a relative of mine got into it because he was talking about how our grandfather, would cheat on grandma. I said, yeah, I know men who didn't put a woman in the house and was cheating. You making it seem like it's all right that he was cheating? I said, what I'm making it seem like is that woman never had to work a day in her life. That woman always was provided for. That woman got cars, the same car, same year, bought and given to her. I'm speaking from Mike's perspective. I would deal with that. Now, not for a woman. It's different when a woman cheats. I know it sounds like a contradiction or a double standard, because there are double standards. The same way women get in clubs for free, the same way men have to step in front of a gun when the person jumps out to rob a woman. There are double standards throughout dating. But if I was a woman, I would put up with that to be able to say I could live the rest of my lives in my own house. And I got a man that's going to take care of me. I definitely would. That seems like a pretty cool trade. Especially when he's not bringing mess back to the house and he's not putting it in your public. I don't think men should be cheating, but if they are going to, I'd rather a man who's putting me up in the house and taking care of my food and things like that was cheating. Ladies, you have to swallow your pride. It's not going to be all perfect for you. Men are going to do goofball stuff sometimes. You may luck up on a man who simply doesn't cheat. But listen, what's better? The bigger picture, or you being able to check somebody right then and there? Is he providing for your needs? Is your life easier because you don't have to pay all the bills now because you have somebody splitting the bills with you? How about think about that? Listen, men, we're out here taking our lashes from the world, but we're growing from it, right? You can't grow because there are no lashes from you. When someone brings something to you about something to your attention about your behavior or something like that, you call it body shaming or woman bashing. Yeah, this is something that you're going to pay a hefty price for, and you'll see. Most of the time when you see a business collapse, it didn't collapse because of decisions that were made a week ago or a couple of months ago. It was the result of things that have been mismanagement that have taken place over the course of a couple of years. That's what that was about. I'm going to say this again. You ladies have to let me see something. Can I pull this up? I know I can't, but I wish I could. Can I find it? So, this is actually cool right here by itself. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys check this out really quick.
Ladies, let's just admit we was wrong. We was wrong. Feminism lied to us. Simps lied to us. Older women who came before us lied to us. It's okay. It's okay. We was wrong. There is something so beautiful about a woman that's able to be vulnerable and admit that she was wrong. Just, you was wrong, baby. You was wrong.
There's a mass of women. I could show you another one. There's a mass of women out there who are coming out like that and owning up to it, and I respect that. Because there's a ton that men have to be asked to be forgiven for. When you guys were acting right, I remember when we were cheating left and right. I remember when black women were acting accordingly, and I remember that they were getting dogged out. So we all have to come together and establish some type of understanding to where, to be honest, I think we all have to come to a place where we're not even bringing that stuff up anymore, to where we just come together and, just be on some, hey, let's just make it work. Let's don't bring the past up and blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing. Black women are acting in a way that is so out of pocket to men like me are having to post this stuff on. Like, we're having to do whatever it is we have to do to get you to see what we see, what the rest of the world sees. Because it's almost like you guys don't see what's going on. We know that you're not crazy. I guess we hope that you're not crazy, but hopefully you do see what the rest of the world is talking about. But it's a little bit more than seeing it. It's time that it gets acted upon. Because we don't
McDonald's and not the rest of my other 3 kids. I have 4 kids. You knew the situation.
We don't want that. You know what? I'm going to do a show where it's going to primarily be asking you women. That's what we're going to do. I want to talk to you guys. I want to see what you want from us. yeah, I want to see what you want from us, what we can do better, and let you know what we think is pivotal from you guys in order for us to start talking again. Because listen, it's not just us. There's a lot of black women who are calling. You guys know that I call them the ROLs, the representatives of the lower self. Yeah, yeah. Older, bitter women, like, yeah, you guys' behavior is completely out of pocket and you're causing an entire community to collapse. But listen, I'm about to get out of here. I had to do this show over because it collapsed on me. But I said my people need some of this good. And so yeah, I took it up on myself to try to provide it. I hope everybody has a real cool rest of their night. And you know what we do. We strive to do better than what we did yesterday. That's the goal over here. You heard? Let's go.